plaintiff, Will Lucero, knew he was adopted. And when he was a teenager, he and the defendant went to the same rec center. And people often thought they were brothers because of their resemblance. Will claims he discovered he and the defendant may be related. So he petitioned the court for a sibling DNA test. Defendant Mike Martinez says when he was a child, people at the rec center often called him Little Will because they thought he and Will looked so similar. Mike hopes the DNA test will prove that they are brothers, so they can start building their relationship.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
We're here to determine whether the two of you are brothers.
Yes.
All right, we're glad to oblige. And the background is what between the two of you gentlemen?
Well, the background is I'm 60 years old. I turned 60 August 7th. And I was adopted when I was 3 months old. As soon as I grew up and was old enough to know that I, understand the adoption process, my parents told me I was adopted, so I always knew.
At what age?
Maybe 5,
Really?
6.
You don't know nothing about what adoption meant, no 5 or 6.
Well, I knew
10.
that. Okay, 10.
Go ahead.
10's good. 10's good. So I knew I was adopted.
How did that affect you once you found out at such a young age?
It never bothered me.
Good.
It never bothered me. I had great parents. I had a great mom and dad.
You don't miss what you never had. From meaning somebody you never knew or had in your life. That was the case with me as well. Raised by a single mother. She was a great mom, so I didn't miss my dad.
Yes. So I never thought about looking for biological parents. I never did. But this past Father's Day, my son Ricky gave me an ancestry DNA test. So
Now tell me about you all's knowledge of each other existing. Did you even know he existed?
we knew each other from the rec center.
And starting at what age?
We used to go to the same rec center. I was probably 14. No, I would have been maybe
teenager.
16,
okay.
17. Yeah.
You all obviously lived around each other.
Within a mile.
Wow.
Within a mile. Yeah, and actually when I used to go to the rec center, they'd say, your little brother's over there. And I'd be like...
Talking about him?
Talking about him.
And you had no knowledge of being related?
I knew he looked like me, and he did, quite a bit.
Well, all ugly people look alike, so that doesn't tell you anything. Go ahead.
So, they'd say, there's your little brother over there, and,
Did you all ever have that type of conversation?
No.
About whether we're related? I know that's something sensitive. You don't want to talk about that when you're a young person. You didn't go to school in the same area? You're 1 mile apart.
Well, he went to public school. I went to Catholic school. I went to...
Okay.
So we were a little bit apart there, but...
Got it. Let me hear from him, sir.
Okay.
Give me some background.
So, like Will said, when I was a kid, I'd go to the rec center and people would say, hey, Will, little Will. I'd be like, what are you talking about?
You say, why are y'all calling me little?
Yeah. What are you...
You say, I'm not a junior and my father wasn't named Will.
Exactly. I don't know who Will is. And I only knew Will through the rec center.
Now, looking back, did you see any other similarities?
No, we weren't.
Personality
we
or
didn't
nothing?
hang out. We didn't hang out.
Yeah,
we
but at the rec center, you saw each other. How often did you see each other at the rec center?
Not every day, but maybe once, twice a week.
For years?
For a long time. But we have maybe 7 siblings. I have 4 sisters, 2 brothers.
They were raised in the house with me.
Were raised in the house with me along with numerous cousins.
Any of you all have the same personality, you and your sibling?
Definitely, yes.
And that's why I asked about him. There's talk that in science, I for one believe in science. There's talk in science that personalities are genetic, meaning they can be passed down from, and of course, all of us have believed personalities were shaped by what you see in your environment, in your household. But that's why I asked, because science is saying that it's genetic. And I know my children, I can tell personality is genetic, because some of the stuff I observe in their personalities, I haven't been that way since I was a teenager, or since I was 25, and from 25 to Jay just turned 35. So in that sense, I began seeing it, and I'm like, okay, they didn't get this from seeing me. They got this through my genes. Don't trust anybody, want to get people back all the time, unforgiving, don't take much, will switch moods on you in a minute. I said, okay. So that's why I'm asking whether you all seen any of that, whether you all were both as competitive or that type of thing. You didn't see anything similar. How about you? Any similar personality traits?
He was a lot younger. He's 10 years younger.
Got it.
So he wasn't with Mike.
Got it. So, okay, it was hard to see that because you weren't right there together every day. And as you spoke with others, what were you told by your parents? And did you mention Michael to them? And at what point, what did they tell you?
I never talked with my mom and dad about,
how did this come up then?
About another family.
How did the question come up?
This came up just this year.
How?
Through Ancestry DNA.
You did say that. And who went on to look? You?
I went on to look, and I had a bunch of cousins. First cousins, second cousins, third cousins. And I didn't really know where to start. And then I get a text, and it's saying, we could be related. I think we might be related. I used to go to La Familia Rec Center and play basketball, and they used to call me Little Will. And before he even told me what his name was, I asked him, "Are you Mike?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm Mike." And I'm like, "Wow, this."
And you, what do you feel about it?
Same story. I mean, I was. Now I'm pursuing Ancestry, but I didn't at the time. I had a first cousin call me, and he's like, "Don't freak out," but some guy reached out to me and said, he's related, he's the first cousin. So I asked my dad, mom, aunts, uncles, he said to see if they knew of anybody given up for adoption in 1960. When he was going through that, he was telling me where the guy was from, and so I stopped him and I said, "Is his name Will?" And he goes, "Yeah,
Wow.
It's Will. How did you know?" And I'm like, well, growing up, that's what people would call me, Will. And like I say, even as an adult, I was with my other brother, and we were in a public bathroom, and someone hollers out again, "Will, is that you?"
He looked over and said, "You must be my brother. You must be my brother."
Oh, I walked in. He was walking out. I was walking in.
All right. Any other stories you all want to tell me?
Sure. So we decided to meet, and it turned out that he only lived half a mile from me now. And so me and my wife Cindy go over to his house, and we meet, and Cindy's in the middle, and Michael's there, I'm here, and my wife is she just keeps looking back and forth, and then pretty soon she's like that, looking back and forth, and then finally she says, "Let me get a picture. I have to get a picture."
I'm gonna open it up here. Well, sometimes people can look alike all their lives and not be brothers. But in this case, you all look alike and you're brothers. Have a good time. Congratulations, guys. There you go.
Thank you, Judge.
Yep.
It's great. It's great. I mean, it took long time. You know, I wish I would have tried earlier. You know, I really do. And I got a big, huge family now.
Oh, that's great.
He's got a whole big family. Yes, he does now.
Yes.
I mean, not just big this way, but there's a lot of us. So I live on 85th. He lives on 96th.
Great.
So
Yeah.
10, 11
And
blocks.
we've always, you know, we talked and we've never been more than 2 miles apart in our whole life. So it's pretty incredible.
Wow. That's great, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.